Okay, so today we're looking at target 1. We're going to be solving quadratic equations by using square roots. So there are 3 steps to these. You first want to get the x squared by itself. So in A, to get x squared by itself, I would start by adding 21. Now I need to get rid of the 7, so I'm going to divide by 7. Now we're at step 2. We're going to take the square root of both sides. When you take the square root of x squared, you get x. I can't take the square root of 3 and get a nice whole number, so I'm going to leave it under the square root. But remember, you get both a positive answer and a negative answer. So that's why we need the plus or minus symbol. So same procedure for B. First, we want to get x squared by itself, so I have to get rid of the 9 and the 4. So I'm going to start by subtracting the 9. Then I'm going to divide by 4. Okay, so I've got an x squared by itself. Now I'm going to square root both sides. Couple of things to notice here. I'm square rooting a negative. So we talked about when you square root a negative, that's when you get an imaginary answer, which is I. So I know I'm going to have I in my answer. I know I'm going to have a plus or minus. When I square root 9 over 4, you're just going to take the square root of the numerator and the denominator. So that'll give me 3/2. So I will get 2 imaginary solutions here. One that is positive 3/2 I, the other one is negative 3/2 I. Now C is a little bit different. Now I have a quantity that's squared. It's in parentheses. The procedure is still the same. You want to get that squared quantity by itself. So first I'm going to add 12 to both sides. Then I'm going to divide by 3. So now I have that squared quantity by itself, so now I'm going to square root both sides. So when you square and square root something, those undo each other, so you're just left with x minus 2. And then when I square root 4, remember I get a positive or a negative 2. So that means I really have 2 equations here. One of them says x minus 2 equals positive 2. The other one says x minus 2 equals negative 2. So when I add 2 to the first one, I get x is 4. When I add 2 to the second one, I get x is 0. So if you feel you want more practice, go ahead and try these 3 problems at the bottom. Push pause, and then when you're ready, come back and see how you did on those 3. All right, so for the first one, to get x squared by itself, I'm going to add 4. Then I'm going to divide by 9. Then I'm going to square root both sides. So I get x is positive or negative 2/3. So remember, that's 2 different answers there. For number 2, I'm going to subtract 12 from both sides. Then I'm going to divide by 4. Then I'm going to square root both sides. So I'm going to get positive and negative. When I square root a negative, I get an I. And I can't take the square root of 3 and get a nice whole number, so I'm going to leave it under the square root. So I get positive or negative I square root of 3. For the last one, I'm going to start by subtracting 18 from both sides. Then I'm going to divide both sides by negative 2. Next, I'm going to square root both sides. So I'll get x plus 1 equals a positive or a negative 3. So that really breaks into 2 different equations. So I have x plus 1 is positive 3, x plus 1 is negative 3. When you solve the first equation, you get x is 2. And when you solve the second one, you get x is negative 4. So remember, most times when you're solving a quadratic equation, you're going to get 2 solutions. If you're ever square rooting a negative, you're going to get I. And whatever number you square root, remember to put the plus or minus in front of it.